Hello, Travis here from Books, Builds, and More, and today I'm doing a book review for The Wastelands by Stephen King. So I have to start out by saying I did like this book better than The Drawing of the Three. Maybe not by much, but I do feel like this book is definitely taking us someplace now at this point in the series. This book is written in two parts, basically, book one and book two. And in book one, I felt like the entirety of it was more or less an extension of definitely The Drawing of the Three, but also from The Gunslinger, because of my prediction that Jake would return. He's back. I really enjoy the character, and I'm glad he's back. And that was due to the paradox caused by Roland during the third drawing in the second book. And that's where that came back. It's like a lot of the book one in here was focused on that whole event, gradually leading up to Jake's pull into the Dark Tower realm. But we also get a lot of character development in this book as well, especially during this first half. We see that Eddie and Susanna are becoming pretty adept gunslingers under Roland's tutelage. So we get to see more of what their characters are capable of in this kind of environment and these situations, particularly Susanna, because she is a disabled character, and not just physically, but also she still has, something going on with her identity dissociative disorder, or however you say it. And, where that happened, where her two personalities merged to become Susanna in the second book. Well, she's Susanna now. She's kind of that full person now, and where she's just kind of an amalgamation of both characters. But there were times where the darker personality, Detta, showed its ugly face in here. And that makes her probably the most interesting of the four main core characters of this quartet, Roland's quartet, his group now that Jake has officially joined them and become part of this quartet. But Susanna, she didn't feature, I felt like, yes, she was a prominent character, of course, but I felt like action-wise, she had the least presence, except for one particularly kind of crucial scene that was quite disturbing, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But yeah, I think she and Eddie are the two least, Eddie, I think, is probably the least interesting character to me at this point of the four, because he's still just kind of fresh, he's still kind of the same Eddie we learned, kind of annoying, kind of immature, but he is starting to grow a little bit on me. Like I said, he is, like Susanna, he's becoming quite an adept gunslinger, but he's also kind of not taking it seriously right now. It's just kind of like he's acting like he's stuck there, but now he's married to Susanna, which, let me just touch on that for a minute, because I forgot to mention that in my last review of The Drawing of the Three, is that relationship in the beginning felt just very forced to me. I felt like it was just, okay, we've got a young man, a young woman, it just has to be this way, it's just for the sake of. And however, something was revealed toward the end of this book that I think is going to tie in with something else later on. So I can accept it on those terms right there. But for now, Eddie, I'm still just kind of on the fence about. He has the potential to be a very likable character. And it's not that I hate him. It's just he's kind of annoying and immature right now. And he just has to grow on me right now. But he does develop a lot softer toward Roland. They had, the animosity is starting to kind of go away there between them. Roland. Okay, I never really cared for Roland in the beginning. The first two books, he's just kind of a cold character, and I just kind of took it at that value. It's not that I hated him, but I didn't really like him. This book is really starting to let me see Roland, let me get to know him a little bit more. Yes, he's still the same old Roland, but his depths are really starting to surface, for lack of a better phrase here. But yeah, I think Roland definitely has the potential to become one of my favorite characters in this series. I mean, as the main protagonist of the series, I would hope that would be the case. That doesn't always have to be, of course, but yeah, he's really starting to shine a little bit more for me. But there are instances where he's still struggling with something, especially particularly what happened with Jake in the first book. I think there's still that nagging, desire to uh, keep his quest to the Dark Tower um, prioritized over everything else. But again, we have the rest of the series to find out how this unfolds. Now, Jake, I don't think Jake developed a whole lot. He doesn't really need to right now, given his age, um, because he just has potential. With a character as young as that he just has the potential to grow a lot more. So I'm definitely right now. I mean, I love the character. Don't get me wrong; he's a very likable kid, and I think he's got potential a lot more. And he's certainly got a lot to prove, for the rest of this series. But yeah, as far as characters go, that's kind of where I stand on them right now. It's a pretty ragtag group of characters that are going along here, but they honestly work well together. I do like this group. Now, in terms of action, uh, I feel like it was like on the same level as the second book. While a lot of the main action took place in the real world, our world per se, and not too much in the Dark Tower world, especially after book one, the entirety of book two in this takes place, and the book finishes out in the Dark Tower world, which I was really happy with. Now, the very first half of this book, in terms of action, it flip flopped back and forth because we had Roland and the others in the Dark Tower realm working on trying to get Jake into the realm, where we see Jake in his time in New York City, 1977, I believe, during his time, trying to fight to get over into the realm, trying to figure out figure out these connections that he and Roland have been having, but also this connection with Eddie that's been going on as well. So there were a lot of twists in this book that I kind of enjoyed and was really eager to see. This was pretty quick read for me. It was pretty fast paced. But yeah, I enjoyed a lot of the action in this one. It was quite wild. The setting was it just gets harsher and harsher. I mean, especially toward the end when they meet probably the most fascinating character for me in this book at the end, Blaine the Train, or the Mono as they call him, the riddle-loving locomotive, which I'm not quite sure what to make of that, but it made a lot of sense the more I read into it. And uh, the little trip he takes them on was wild, and it's not over yet. This book ends on quite the cliffhanger, even more so than the second book. And I'm just hooked. Now I definitely want to see where this series is going from here based on just that cliffhanger. But also, and I want to go back to something about what I said about Eddie and Susanna's marriage, because it kind of ties into something else that happens earlier in the book. There is a particularly disturbing scene, one that I did not care for at all. And at first, because of the nature of the scene, I felt was completely unnecessary, and it was just very uncomfortable to read. But it involved Susanna's character and a demon. And if you know, you know. But the revelation of some little secret, toward the end of this book that I mentioned or I hinted on just a minute ago, I'm afraid is going to tie into that as well. And I'm going to take a Vegas bet here and say it's going to be based on the demon part of this, uh, I'm trying to say this without actually flat out spoiling it because I don't want to, but just suffice it to say that I think it's more or less going to turn out that that's the demon part is going to be the case with this secret that's been revealed. And it's going to complicate matters further. I mean, why wouldn't it? You know, it's that would be the more exciting and more complex storyline to go through. But I don't know. I don't know. It may turn out to be something totally different, but for now, I'm going to predict that that's going to be the case. But either way, it's definitely something that has also kept me hooked to keep on going with this series, despite the fact that it still didn't make that scene any less uncomfortable to read. Not to mention, speaking of uncomfort or discomfort, whatever, the strong implications of what was probably going to happen to Jake in the city of Lud. Yeah, come on, really? Now that I could see was not necessary. Don't hang that over us like that, you know. Just but oh well, it is what it is. I guess for the sake, I have to look at it as, you know, for the sake of just the shock value or the horror of it, you know. Still, everything hinges on these characters' decisions, I think, pretty much, particularly Roland's. He now has these three people he's basically having to babysit or care for, but also nurture in this way in order to bring them up in a world that's so harsh and uncertain that he himself really has no complete answer for. We're still getting vague answers to this quest. We're 3 books in, and still we're only getting vague answers. Now, I don't expect anything major to be revealed, like right off the bat or anything. This is a long series. We've got the entire rest of the series, you know, to unfold this, to unfold all this, and that's fine. But it doesn't. I guess I'm just being petty a little bit. I guess like, okay, just give us something. I feel like you're just dangling a carrot that's just being slowly nibbled at, you know, just kind of little bitty tiny chunks chipped away at. Just give us a little bit of something. With those two, with the cliffhangers at the end of this, I think that's what I mean by give us a little bit more. So I think we did get a little bit more in this book that kept us going. Yet there is one more thing that's got me hooked to keep me going. Now, the entirety of this book stays with Roland and his quartet. Now, the first half, of course, until Jake joins them, it flip-flops back and forth, you know, perspectives. Jake in his world in a lot of sections, and then Roland and the quartet in the other sections, or Roland, Eddie, and Susanna. The quartet wasn't whole until Jake joins them, of course. But either way, we always stayed with the 4 core. And then Jake rejoins them, and then we still stay with them. Except for one short section at the end of chapter 5, where we get a scene, a very brief scene, but very powerful and cliffhangery, between 2 antagonistic characters, one of whom, I'm going to just throw it out there, is Randall Flagg. It's Randall Flagg. He even gives a character's name as initials RF. I forgot exactly what the name is right now. I could look it up, but I'm not going to take the time to do that. But still, the personality, it matches. It is Randall Flagg. I'm just going to say it's Randall Flagg. And his persuasion over this other antagonistic character is, you know, it's just a dead giveaway. It's Randall Flagg is who it is. But nevertheless, there is a plot between those two that is brewing that's going to come to the forefront. So yet another cliffhanger, yet another reason to keep going. And that's it. That's pretty much my take on this book. Yeah, I did like it. I don't know if it's going to end up being the best one in the series. I still like the Gunslinger the best so far out of the 3 books. This one's right up there, though. Yeah, some things still, you know, have to convince me or get better in my eyes. But yeah, that's basically my feel for it. I gave it 4 stars. So anyway, my next, if you're following me on this Dark Tower journey, My next read in the order that I'm doing it is going to be book 4, Wizard and Glass. I'm getting ready to start this, so that will be it. But after this one, there's going to be quite a large gap before I go back into the main series. I'm going to be reading a lot of adjacent Dark Tower adjacent books, you know, books that I think connect or somehow reference the Dark Tower series. So I'm looking forward to getting into that and taking a little bit of a break from the main series right now. But anyway, if you've stuck with me this far, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.